Hello, everybody. We are back with more spaghetti than we could possibly eat right now. Um, but in the meantime, prepare to witness one of the greatest cases in all of Ace Attorney franchise history. This has been widely regarded as top tier, like I'm talking top five. Like that's how much anybody that's played this game have said that this is one of the best cases ever written. Like that's how good this is. Like you have good characters all around. Like all the characters are memorable. The tension and the action are really good in it. And there's also emotional moments. I will say I did cry at the very end of it, and I'm not joking. Literal tears were flowing like a waterfall. Um,
Oh,
it was kind of like Okuyasu, crying after he was drinking the water.
Okuyasu.
And the tears just wouldn't stop flowing. And at one point, I'm just like, oh, why won't they stop?
Oh gosh, is this gonna be like that one scene from the Mystery Dungeon where I just start crying and I'm trying to read the dialogue and it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep going.
But
God
yeah, but the good part was like that. I can't actually spoil it, so I'm not going to. Anyway, let's get going. Now this part is voice acted, and unfortunately, my host can't hear it, so you'll have to bear with us if you're watching this on the stream itself.
The grand end of the century great exhibition of London. Surely there is not a soul who has failed to hear of it. Wondrous new works of culture and industry from every corner of the globe had converged on Hyde Park, welcoming over 50 million visitors. The last great hurrah of this century. Astonished and delighted people of all nations, and ended on a note of resounding success. But as regards to the terrible catastrophe that occurred during the festivities, very few are aware my friend Mr. Herlock Sholmes had a
That is
hand
no
in
Sherlock
the matter.
Holmes.
For
Oh
from the
gosh, that
shadows,
chin.
it was he who earnestly unearthed
You could cut it like you could cut a can open with that.
Yeah,
and like the centerpiece of the great exhibition,
it looks like that
which
fucking
was
chin dude off Fairly Odd
eyes of
Parents.
Hyde Park. Sholmes's brilliant deductions.
Speaking of Fairly Odd Parents, did you hear Butch Hartman's Twitter got hacked?
No.
Yeah,
By
I heard.
Crypto Pete Bros.
I don't know what he did.
We're going to a fair. I want a funnel cake.
Well, more voice acting here.
The weather is unusually fine, and we're about to witness a most extraordinary scientific experiment.
And there's British Doc Brown.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Woo!
we'll see steam engines and electrical power dominate the world. Horse-drawn carts will give way to the motor car. Ships will sprout wings and take to the skies. And today, we showcase even more advanced technology. A glimpse into the future. A world first. A demonstration of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine.
Guy on the left isn't very good as a hype man.
He's the one that's going to be teleported.
Oh.
So this is basically 1900 Star Trek technology about to be happening.
Beat me up, Marty.
God damn it, I'm
This
doing the
harp-
finger motions from Star Trek. Damn.
But a few moments from now, this gentleman will, in the blink of an eye, complete an incredible journey through the air. To arrive an instant later on the Crystal Tower behind you!
Damn.
Neat.
28 miles per hour!
Yay!
It's
Oh, this guy's just
working!
dancing and jumping and
And laughing maniacally, by the way.
bad scientist.
He's a
Okay.
maniac.
Maniac on the floor.
And we'll find out what happened after this little conversation. dot 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 dot.
Winner, are you listening?
Oh, sorry. What was that, Iris?
What's the matter with you? You've been miles away all morning. Didn't you like what I cooked for breakfast?
No, that's not it at all. What were we talking about again?
Today's paper. It's full of news about the great exhibition again.
Ah, yes, the Great Exhibition. I'd like to go sometime. Dot 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 dot.
You're really not your usual self today. You seem very down. Don't you agree, Harley?
Uh-oh. Oh my god!
Hmm?
No.
Did you say something, Iris?
Someone plug him in.
Oh gosh, you're even more down.
Did someone steal his violin?
Dot 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 dot. Ah! When did you arrive, Mr. Naruhodo?
I was ready to fight.
I've been here for about a half an hour already. We had breakfast together.
He looks ready to throw hands.
But why didn't you mention it before? I, thought you might known I was here, because breakfast? Iris is quite right. You're clearly lacking in vim. So much so that I didn't notice your presence. Thanks. Of course, I could deduce the reason perfectly well with some simple observations. What? Let's see. Yes, for example, your tousled hair this morning with all its unruly spikes. Clearly, it can be deduced, therefore, that... let me stop you there, Mr. Sholmes, because I think I can see where this is going. My hair always looks like this. It always has, ever since we first met, in fact. Oh, really? How interesting. It just doesn't look like a haircut as such, I suppose.
Just say
again.
you're a rat's nest. Jeez.
My god. This guy fucking is moody as fuck.
Dot, 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 dot. It crossed my mind recently that it's been 6 months now.
6 months?
Since I was forbidden from working in court. So I've been wondering how much longer I'm going to be banned.
Oh. Well, that would explain why you seem rather glum. Don't you agree, Harley?
Oh,
Not
no,
again.
Did you say something, Iris? Back to moping.
Oh. It's mid-swing.
What's the matter with Mr. Sholmes today? He seems even more down in the dumps than me.
I know. The great exhibition has opened. This week to be started. Oh, why don't we all go see it together?
I want to! Of course I do, but I can't! Not for the time being. Why not? Why not? Why not? Because I'm a great detective after all. So you're embroiled in some tricky case that you can't be distracted from. Is that it?
Don't you remember Harry that you're working on a case, Hurley.
Dot. I suppose I should try to find out what's going on.
Where the hell am I?
I think you're still in Japan.
Half a year ago now, I took on the defense of a young girl in a trial heard at the Old Bailey. What at first seemed like a simple case of murder that took place at a London pawnbrokery turned out to be one part of a much more far-reaching plot that involved the British government. During the course of the trial, it was found that I made an unavoidable yet at the same time unforgivable mistake. I punish you with 3 hamburgers and the secret recipe of the chum bucket.
No!
Words fail me. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. Eyes wondering. In the end, I had my right to represent people in court revoked. I was told I had to spend my time in research and study, so that's what I've been doing.
You have, haven't you know? Reading all the big fat tomes about British law up in your room, and a note about Sholmes' old papers.
Brewing Iris's special blends of tea, fetching my daily bread for me. You've become something of a manservant around here. Start on the silverware next, Master Naruhodo.
Oh.
Well, I'm thinking of going to ask the powers that be to reconsider. Specifically, Lord
Thinking that-
Stronghart
sorry.
at the British Supreme Court at Whitehall. What are you saying,
I'm
Sylph?
thinking of that scene. I was gonna say, I'm thinking of that scene from SpongeBob where, like, SpongeBob is bringing Squidward soup, and like he's like, "And why aren't you in uniform?" Just a made outfit.
Oh god. Here you go. It's alphabet soup. I made it special.
Lord Strongheart?
Ah, the delightful Lord Chief Justice? Not my favorite fellow. He's not mine either, but he's the man I have to talk to. He's the only one who can grant permission for me to start working in the courts again. I came to Britain to become the best lawyer I could. And I can't do that just sitting around here. The whole of London has been swept up in this great exhibition, hasn't it? The most advanced science, the most modern technology, the finest works of art, and feats of engineering. For the next 6 months, our capital will be showcasing these things, and the world will be watching.
Oh, Christina, what I want to do? I'd like to look down on Lotus on one of those lovely balloons.
Look down on... Do you mean those things? Fly?
Oh god.
Of course, they fly high in the sky and don't even need wings to do it. All you need is hot air.
But how? How does hot air have anything to do with flying? It makes no sense. I can't understand it at all.
Well, it's a lot of scientific discovery. Most people can't understand them at first. But in 100 years' time, all these things will just be common knowledge.
I suppose they might be.
Granted, some of the science being demonstrated seem very questionable. Something went wrong on the open experiment testing stage yesterday. There was a huge explosion. Still, I wish I'd seen it though. I'd love to see how bad some of the STARM experiments really were.
Says the innocent 10-year-old girl. See here, Every page of this paper carries some article or other about the Great Exhibition. But the brighter things shine, the darker the shadows that are cast behind them. Personally, I find myself drawn to the darkness, to the impenetrable. That is my proper atmosphere. Shadows cast behind? Is that a metaphorical way of referring to the back page of the paper? Are you investigating a particularly tricky case at the moment, Mr. Sholmes? You could say that, I suppose. Nothing more to add? That's not like you. What sort of case is it? Oh, shh! Quiet, Mr. Naruhodo. We must not discuss it here. You never know who might be listening.
Just that little girl.
You're acting very strangely, Curly.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, usually. The more mysterious and complicated the case is, the better Curly's mood.
Ah,
Is this really a case that's bothering you?
Iris, please, you mustn't exercise your astute powers of observation and deduction on me without invitation. Remember what I always say. Put yourself in the shoes of the individual about whom you're making deductions. You say that, do you? You, Mr. Sholmes? Never mind. Once I've had a cup of tea, I must make my way at once to the crime scene. Ha. That was a deep sigh.
I think he ain't having any of it.
I do not want to be doing what I'm going to be doing. Which I know what it is, and you're gonna laugh when you find out. So many glowing reports about the Great Exhibition and everything that's going on there. Other than this rather gloomy-looking one, that is. ... Wait, what?
What's the matter, Bruno?
The Reaper attacked. That's...
What?
That's Lord Van Zeeks. This must be what Mr. Sholmes was talking about. Does he know any more, I wonder? Sylph is saying, someone exploded. Is it bad I can imagine Iris getting excited over catching someone like, look, Hurley, I caught a hand. It says in the paper that Lord Van Zeeks was attacked. That's terrible. You know the legend of the Reaper of the Bailey, of course, don't you? Only too well, in fact. Yes, Prosecutor Barack Van Zeeks. They say that if the Reaper is the prosecutor in a case, there's no salvation for whoever's in the dock. Even if the defendant is found not guilty. Once the Reaper has someone in his sights, one way or another, that person's time left on this earth will be short.
Uh-oh. Ghostie's gonna fight whoever hurt Lord Van Zeke.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. When she hears about this, she's ready to throw hands.
Mm-hmm. London's finest rogues always find ways around the law. They'll stop at nothing to secure an acquittal at trial. Falsifying evidence, playing sham witnesses, threatening jurors, bribing judges. But even such devious tactics as these cannot save them from the hand of the Reaper. As you've experienced yourself, haven't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I've seen the Reaper's retribution at work. Many of these criminal rogues are reckless and quite unafraid to die. If a leader among their fraternity is seen to have been taken by the Reaper, retaliation like this does occur. Really, the capital has a never-ending supply of such scoundrels. So, do you mean Lord Van Zeeks has been attacked like this before? This isn't the first time? He's quite an accomplished combatant, you know. He doesn't take these attacks lying down. Although, It seems that his assailants were armed with guns this time. Oh my goodness, is he alright then? Is Lord Vansink's hurt? My dear fellow, how on earth would I know? It's not like we had. It's not like we have Twitter back in this time period.
Says, as to what of Lord Van Beek and his condition, all will be revealed in tomorrow morning's edition. What a cliffhanger!
Ah, I see. Well, we shall have to be patient then. No, I can't wait until tomorrow. In that case, you shall have to inquire with somebody in the know. But who? Lord Strongheart, perhaps? Well, I must be leaving now. Yes, understood. See you later, Mr. Sholmes. Ha! You really are a shameless liar sometimes, my dear fellow. What? You seek to put me off my guard and follow me, don't you? Well, you would be wasting your time. The thought hadn't crossed my mind, but now I'm wondering where you're going. Well then, see you later indeed. Listen to him. He's still laughing on his way out of the door.
Alright then, Luna, let's get going.
Oh,
Iris, look at Iris' look!
Iris, what are you wearing?
I've got things to go to the great exhibition. Could want to take me.
What? But I was just about to go to the Supreme Court.
Oh, well that sounds fun too. You want to take me there then?
Alright, fine. Just lower that weapon, would you?
Of course! And off to the Supreme Court, then we'll go to see the great exhibition.
Do I have a choice?
No.
Simple answer. Oh, here we are, back at Dio's dungeon. Or castle.
Yeah.
Where's the pendulum?
Not needed.
Damn.
It's been
I'm
about
referring to the...
It's been about 6 months now since I was last here. But some things never change, like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place. Doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there.
Ah, I love this place. I always find so many interesting books here.
Of course. I was forgetting that you've been here before. The time we came here 6 months ago. When Sasato-san was given the news that she was to return to Japan. Ah, I understand you wish to speak with me. Oh, Lord Strongheart, I trust you've been keeping well? Let's see. Since you arrived and requested an audience, it's been 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. I've kept you waiting a while. My apologies. Oh no, not at all. I like nothing more than standing around staring into space. Good to know. Good to know that doesn't appear to bother him at all. Mael Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of London. He's the man who allowed me to start practicing as a defense lawyer when I arrived in Britain as a student. You need only savor the air for a moment in this grand office to understand his preeminent status. As you will be aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime, and furthermore, as of next month, we shall open the International Forensic Science Symposium. Oh, I've not heard about that. Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it. As we're the hosting nation, I have much to do, and it is my highest priority. If others must wait for my attention as a result, so be it. Well, it's nice to know where I stand. So, you wish to consult with me? Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as a defense lawyer again in court. That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing on my mind as it happens.
Uno, let's take a deep breath and come out with it.
Sir, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're the most beautiful man I've ever met. Will you marry me? What the goddamn hell? That proposal took 15 seconds, 29 milliseconds. That was way too long of a proposal. I actually came here today to ask for your permission. Go on. 6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked, and I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened, but the thing is, it made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system. And I desperately want to have another go. Please, permit me to enter the courtroom again. ... Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Here it comes. Please say yes. To the marriage, I mean, not the lawyer thing. I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriot. This was never your intended role. Well, that's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on this study tour, not me. It should have been Kazuma. He was so determined to bring change to our own justice system at home. That was his calling. If that tragic accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here in this office now. Mr. Asogi was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished. I have to fulfill his calling for him. His calling, you say? Has it never occurred to you that perhaps you know nothing of his true calling? Sorry? The mission with which that young law student was charged. What do you suppose it really was? What do you mean? Mission? It's not making any sense. ... Never mind. I've read all the reports you've submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions. Do you mean... As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain.
Woo.
Thank you so much.
It's wonderful news, Runa.
In fact, I believe I have the perfect case to mark your comeback. A curious affair. You'll consider it, I hope. Of course, please tell me more. You described it as a curious affair? Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. Are you aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday? Oh, no.
Yes, I heard about it. A professor from Germany tried to take out a crazy experiment Let me see. How much is this from? Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I think.
Instantaneous kinesis, as in moving things with the click of the fingers?
That's right. It's just what my herbal blend needs. A dash of devil may care. I was gonna say devil may cry, but okay.
Close. Whatever this serious accident was exactly, it's clearly captured Iris's imagination. It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. Odie Asman, an investor and a well-known figure in society. A large explosion?
A man died?
The man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert Harebrain. He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow. On the charge of murder. What? Murder? If you intend to take on his defense, you should hurry to meet with him at the prison. There is very little time left for you to carry out any kind of investigation. The Great Exhibition. A scientific experiment gone wrong, and murder? I feel out of my depth before I even started. Still.
We should go to the prison straight away then and try to meet with this German professor, don't you think?
Definitely. Ah, yes. One more thing about the case. There's a connection with our mutual acquaintance, the Reaper. Oh, with Lord Van Zeeks? How?
Yes, buddy.
All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to coincide with the Great Exhibition. And next month, the largest and most important of them all will take place at last. The International Forensic Science Symposium. It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it? Exactly! Yes, Sylph. London, the global epicenter of culture, science, and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate. So it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible. Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it? Exactly! The future of policing. Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods. Oh dear, that's alarming. Exactly! It's extremely alarming.
How many times do I have to say this?
Exactly. If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you could be sure the numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different to the current figures. And I could cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to support my claim. Sorry? By way of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail every one now. What?
Holy crap. Ah, how fascinating. Just let me get to my laundry first.
It all began 15 years ago. I was I'm blacking I'm whiting out. I'm like Pokemon trainer. And that more or less sums up my feelings on the matter in the simplest of terms, of course. Essentially, to formally establish a forensic investigation division within Scotland Yard. That is my mission. Oh, right. Yes, that's wonderful. Exactly. Wonderful is precisely what it will be. Iris isn't paying attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now.
Oh, isn't all that? Did you learn anything useful?
I actually drifted off for the most part. He's surprisingly ardent about forensic science.
I'm here.
Exactly.
God damn it.
Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen this? The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition? Of course. No,
I'll
not
be
that.
right back.
Okay. The story on the back page. What story? The Reaper attacked. Ah, that. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not? Poor Mr. Reaper. What happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he? There's no need for concern. Lord Van Zieks would not be so easily dispatched, I assure you. Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know. Very well. If it interests you. It does, strangely. Now, let me give you every single bits of information about his condition. 218 of them. Oh god, no.
No!
Stop, please. Fortunately, Lord Van Zieks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He's a very capable fighter. But that's incredible. They were armed with guns. Why was he attacked, though? Do we know? ... It's related to events that occurred a month ago. A leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Van Zieks. But the man was acquitted. I have no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes. Large sums of money? A deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday. But you're not suggesting that was the work of the Reaper, surely? The victim's henchmen certainly seemed to think so. He was a man by the name of Asmon, Mr. Odie Asmon. Did you say Asmon?
That's the man who died in the big explosion at the Great Exhibition.
Yes, known publicly as an investor, but in reality, the head of a significant criminal organization. So basically, he's Diablo.
Oh god.
Unbelievable. I wonder, can I ask you something, Lord Strongheart? Try me. Why do you use Lord Van Zieks as a prosecutor? ... All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with mysterious ends outside the courtroom, and fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord Van Zieks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still, something's clearly going on here. I have Van Zieks work for the prosecution service for 2 reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. And secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials are nothing to do with him. But that doesn't make sense. How can you explain the way so many have died if not by someone's hand? Van Zieks may have earned himself the monk year of the Reaper, but he is no killer. So he will continue to prosecute on behalf of the crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course. Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement. I'm already 11 hours and 16 minutes late. My colleagues may be starting to fidget. 11 hours late? That's quite something. That meeting had already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man. I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. Oh yes, where would I find Lord Van Zieks now? I would assume he's at his office. Right. I'll go and ask him about the attack in person. I want to go get this straight from the horse's mouth. Away with you now. I'm leaving Professor Harebrain's defense entirely in your hands. Of course, yes. Thank you very much, my lord. And yes, Employee of the Month. And look at this fucking office.
Oh.
Can you imagine, like... And he's
This
got...
looks like Dio's lair.
Well, I mean, he is a vampire.
So this is the legendary Reaper's office?
Yes, it appears so.
It says to the sun of fine, doesn't it? An amazingly deadly atmosphere.
Look at that. The captain of chalices.
Yeah, it's got wine bottles, chalices everywhere. Oh, is that... That hooded figure was so still I hadn't noticed his or her presence. I wonder who it is. What are you doing here? Dot, 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 dot. He's as unwelcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're well. I am. Dot, 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 dot. So, who's the person over by the wall being punished for something or other? No punishment is taking place here. Oh. That's my apprentice, and he's sitting there of his own free will. I didn't know you had an apprentice. It must be the same person who was pictured in the newspaper. He's very able in combat, a requisite skill for anyone under my tutelage. Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers? The Reaper? I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself. Assuming, that is, such a fabled fiend genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms. Now, would you like a glass of wine? Lord Van Zieks, about the article in this paper. Ah, yes, it seems there was a reporter nearby when that little skirmish took place. I had no idea I'd been photographed. It was careless of me.
It looks as though it was taken after the people who were actually...
Rest assured, the police have already apprehended every last one of them. But there's someone else fighting alongside you, it seems. And I think it's the same man who's sitting over there as we speak, isn't it? Dot, 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 dot. As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice. Perhaps you could tell us a little more about him? Dot, 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 dot. He's in my tutelage to become a prosecutor. So you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose.
You are really...
I don't remember taking an apprenticeship with a great detective. He's currently compiling a report about last night's attack. It looks like he's wearing some kind of mask. On Lord Strongheart's orders. Nobody knows the man's face, or indeed his identity. But why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious
Are you guys able to
individual?
hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I'm getting worried because my connection is pretty much crap at this moment.
Alright, I can hear you good
Or at least
now.
my Discord is. Okay. So, I'm worrying.
Lord
We just
Strongheart.
lost-
Wait.
I
No,
was
she's
saying we
still-
just lost.
Oh, she's still in there. She's still in the chat. Oh, there you are. See?
It's the rain and the connection is pretty much shit.
Oh, the dreaded rain.
Ugh.
Lord Strongheart's orders again. He's not one for meaningless follies. There will be a good reason for his actions. I hope you're right.
Ooh.
Ah! The task is complete? Good. In that case, you can collate all the briefs. Nice to meet you?
That's it.
You notice the bats right there? That's why he's a vampire. Back to work again. That was really strange, though. I've never met the man before. I didn't even know he existed, and yet... somehow it didn't feel like our first encounter. Don't bother trying to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody from outside this office. Lord Strongheart has strictly forbidden it. Oh, I see. Why are you so interested in my apprentice anyway? Oh no, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to... The way he stood there so casually, yet with that flawless posture.
He's mine, bitch.
It couldn't be. What do you mean by what you said before? If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean... I'm a crown prosecutor and immortal like any other. I am no demagogue. Well, if you ask Ghosty, I am.
But they have all died, haven't they? The people you prosecuted, I mean. Whether or not the trial ended in a correction or in acquittal.
Those I prosecute are the vilest wretches of our society. People who without question deserve to be found guilty. The world is a better place without them. But that's not true of Mr. Natsume, for example. He wasn't a vile wretch at all.
Not with Ginny. In fact, he's ever so hard-working now. ...
I can't deny that since I encountered you, things have taken a turn, but the point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped justice subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it was at the hand of their own kind. It's not my work. Lord Strongheart said the same. He believes you're not involved in any way.
But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believed it's true. ...
The fact is, since people started to call me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially. Oh. It would appear that even the most hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives. Dot, 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 dot. Do you mean to say... I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I adopt it gladly and with honor. But it's putting you in danger. You could be killed. If that is my fate, let God decide. Lord Van Zeeks. Lord Strongheart said that the assault last night was some sort of revenge attack? True. Carried out by henchmen of Odi Asmon's criminal organization. The investigation meant their arrests were imminent. Presumably, some hope to kill me before that happened. Odi Asmon. He's always masqueraded as one of London's most powerful financiers, a global investor. But his enormous wealth came to him by underhand means via his criminal activities.
And he used that money to buy himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he? Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper.
But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact, in extraordinary circumstances, it was a most unusual cause of death. I know about that. It was super high voltage instantaneous kinesis gone wrong. Mr. Asmon died when the demonstration on the public experimentation stage ended in an enormous explosion. Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you? Well...
Yes.
No, that doesn't seem a little far-fetched, although you are a vampire and you have supernatural abilities and you could practically do anything you wanted. You could practically do anything and get away with it. I mean, you're God, at least in Ghosty's eyes, and God, I already proposed to Strongheart, but I could propose to you too. I mean, it does not compute.
Oh my god, what the hell are you doing?
I don't know. If this man really is the fabled Reaper, then he has to be innocent of this particular death at least.
James, how all this... I mean, what's with you getting on the professor's defense for the trial tomorrow?
What? You're going to be defending him? Oh, yes, that's right. Though I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest. Albert. Albert Harebrain. That's right. Do you know him by any chance? ... Of course. He's a contemporary of mine. We were at university together. You're...
Oh. What?
If he said lover, I would have been like, oh, here we go. I'd understood that Professor Harebrain was from Germany, though. Harebrain's from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out research, that's all. So you were students together. I was in the Faculty of Law, of course, and he in Science, so our paths rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along, though I've not met him since my university days.
Anniversary.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was already thinking in my head, like, oh god, they're having an anniversary lunch together and everything. I certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form. And with you, of all people, representing him. Ugh. Only if I make it out of this office alive. He's actually been charged with murder, it seems. Yes, I know. Because the prosecution will be handled by me. By you? But you made it sound as if you and the professor had been friends. We are friends, it's true. Then why would you do this?
If the Reaper is the prosecutor, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's doomed.
Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. What's Lord Van Zeek's thinking? Ah, yes. There's something I've been meaning to ask you. Oh, what's that? That Nipponese man, is he faring well? Sorry? They were arrested twice in succession 6 months ago with the stoop and the mustache and the jitters. Ah, Mr. Natsume, you mean?
I'm not sure. He'd be very pleased to find that you identified him for not listening.
Nah, I'm actually okay with it. I'm rich. Filthy, stinking rich. He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by international post only the other day. I see. Dot, 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 dot. Well, I think we can end our discussion there, don't you? There's little time left before tomorrow's trial. I advise you to spend it investigating the case. Yes, thank you for the advice, and for the conversation. I can't believe he's asking after Soseki-san. Well, after a Nipponese. I'm not sure whether to feel happy about that or worried.
I never imagined that Mr. Reaper would be friends with a mad scientist, did you? That's a ton up for the books.
It turns out Van Zeeks is Frankenstein's monster and Hairbrain is Frankenstein.
Bro.
A mad scientist. Ah, you mean Professor Hairbrain. Yes, it might be worth quizzing the professor about his relationship with Lord Van Zeeks, I think. You are not evil, you are good! Oh my god, I swear to god I thought he was texting.
Me too.
I thought Monty, you gotta get me out of here! The warden said cell 11. That's this one.
Ah, there's someone curled up in a ball in the back corner. Look!
What's his name again? Professor Albert Hairbrain, wasn't it? Excuse me, Professor Hairbrain? Who are you? I'm Renosuke Naruhodo. I'm a defense lawyer. A lawyer! Was it something I said? A lawyer, you say? Would you be here about the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis? Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't... Yesterday's demonstration! That magnificent demonstration was... It was an out-and-out success by anyone's calculations! But despite that... No one listens! No lawyer believes in the science! When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity!
He kind of looks like Andy Dick.
Should I say plus or minus the Andy?
So he's just a dick?
Yeah.
I'm joking, by the way.
Now's probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration leave for a while, too.
My bad. Excuse me.
You mentioned the demonstration yesterday.
The papers have covered a spectacular failure after a man died in an explosion.
Yes, you could interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense. The experiment was a failure, but at the same time it was a great success. You've lost me. I saw it with my own eyes, right there in front of me. Mr. Asmund was spontaneously disassembled. Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculations had predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. However, the machine exploded and Mr. Asmund in fact perished? Yes, I can't deny that part of the experiment was a failure. So what you're really saying is the large explosion that killed Mr. Asmund was an accident, correct?
But the bigwig has you arrested on suspicion of murder.
I was responsible for a man's death. That is the immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished at once. But... Murder? Never in a million years. It was an accident. Simply an accident. I see.
Harry and I were talking this morning.
What's with the death stare, Iris?
He thought the situation would change completely, depending on whether it was treated of the opposite or murder.
How exactly?
Well, if it really was an accident, the precious machine would have captured the practice property.
On what grounds? Ah, yes, it's newly established here in Britain, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. That one passed me by.
But as a case treated as murder,
Then they'll say my machine was the murder weapon, and they'll be able to pour over it as much as they like. If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My precious hypothesis will be stolen. The machine must be protected from that at all costs. That's why it's imperative this whole incident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial. Ah, I see now. So, in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showground yesterday. Yes! Oh, rather, no, the devil is in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion. Sounds the same to me.
I'll be right back.
Alright.
you are demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis value. How fascinating!
Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible, using a sufficiently high voltage, to break those bonds and beam the particles through space. That's it in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see? That's my amazing hypothesis. Gosh, that's unimaginably high-level science. Oh, but dare to imagine it, dare to dream of such incredible technology. Just think, one moment I could be there in this cell, and the next, I could be at the Great Exhibition again. Well, yes, that would be incredible. And the next, in the mere blink of an eye, I could be at a great Parisian theater, say. The possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast planet would be within reach. So, no more hiding in wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days?
I don't really see it like that.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk.
My word! That's exactly right! What are the implications? What does this mean? ...
Oh, back off, Professor. Buddy brain. Really worried by the look of it.
Clearly, this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose. The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works. But without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. And that's always the fly in the ointment.
Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money. Money that young scientists like you don't have.
That's exactly it, yes.
complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science.
Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Asman. The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Odie Asman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man? He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thanked my lucky stars! I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then.
Money, society, for the research. I'm so envious.
As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel. Oh, really? An archangel, even. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for presentation at the Great Exhibition. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Asman provided me with money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications.
But then, your dreams were blown and dust in one enormous explosion.
As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Asman. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life. Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. I understand Lord Van Zeeks is a friend of yours from your university days? Yes, that's right. He was studying law whilst I was studying science. What was he like back then? A good question. Unassuming, gentlemanly, an all-round nice fellow, really. Sorry, I think you misheard me. I'm talking about the cold-hearted, merciless prosecutor Barack Van Zeeks. What was he like when he was at university?
Talk about a leading question, you know? You know, that's actually a loaded question.
True that. You should be ashamed of yourself, sir. As I said, an unassuming and extremely pleasant gentleman. After all, he is the little darling of the Van Zeeks family with all its great aristocratic origins.
I didn't realize he had quite such noble blood.
Little darling? Oh god, now we know what Ghosty's gonna call Van Zeeks on their first date.
We haven't heard from her in like what, months?
Yeah. Wait till I tell her this. It was a bit of a shock when I came back to Britain and learnt what he'd become. The Reaper of the Bailey, no less. Yes, that's right. I did hear, though, that there was a very big event in his life that completely changed him after graduation. Really? What sort of event? I'm sorry, but I don't know anymore. I wasn't in the country at the time. I was in Germany already. Oh, yes, of course. If he's heard all about the Reaper, I really don't have the heart to tell him that Lord Van Zeeks will be the prosecutor in court tomorrow. So, Professor, let me just make absolutely sure I've understood you properly. The huge explosion that occurred yesterday, that was an accident, you're saying. You had no intent to harm the victim who was in fact the sole investor in your work. Is that correct? As correct as 2 squared is 4, I swear it! Yes, it's true that the man perished in a machine of my invention. So I know that I'm far from blameless in all this, but still, I would never use my discoveries, my inventions, to take a person's life, not in a centillion years. I'm a man of science, it's all I know. You have to believe me, please. Do you believe me? Do you believe in my hypothesis? Science is the pursuit of truth, you know. I've always believed that all my life. I'm afraid I don't know much about science or your theories. But I do believe you, and I will fight to prove your innocence with all my might. I am the man of the law. It's all I know. You have to believe me, please! When I went to live in Germany after I graduated, I learned something very important. Nationality, class, lineage, none of that matters. As long as you try your hardest, you can achieve anything. Thank you for that, Professor. And thank you in advance for defending me tomorrow in court.
Alright, Reno. It's time to visit the great exhibition.
Sorry?
Oh. That's where the incident happened, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose that's true. Time to investigate at last. This looks like a theme park. Ugh, the showgrounds are a little too big for my liking. We've been walking around in dense crowds for 2 hours now, and I felt myself swooning 3 times.
There are a lot of people out there. I've only been trodden on 3 times too.
Be careful, won't you, Iris? Don't let go of my hand. We finally made it through the throngs, though, by the look of it. Here we are, underneath the public experimentation stage where the explosion happened yesterday. Oh, Big Brother Runo. What's that? I can hear voices from up on the stage. It sounds like an argument. Oh god, here we go. Pay-per-view match.
I would do the voice, but I don't know who's saying what.
It's you.
Right. I had it with you this time. I'm warning you. I'll rescue this in a minute.
Oh yeah?
But you-
Go on then, Spectre. Give it a shot. You ain't got no evidence and you know it.
Wait, I know those voices.
You got a cheeky little mouth on you, young lady. But a night in the cells will teach you some manners.
Just try it. I dare ya. If you want that big old chip from down your...
I'd very much appreciate that.
Yeah, Rexy. What are you doing up there?
Ah! Ah! It's you! Here! You're here! Your ladyship! How are you, your ladyship? I do hope you're very well, your ladyship.
Does that make her 3 times a lady?
I'm not well at all. It's far too busy everywhere. I wanted to ride in a balloon, but there was a 3-hour wait.
Unbelievable. I'll go and have a word for you at once, your ladyship. You'll be flying high as a kite in no once I pull some strings for you.
That line! It's perfect for today, of all days! You'll be flying as high as a kite
yeah.
once you reach this, your ladyship.
And for anybody, yes, Happy 420, everybody!
Woo!
I need weed close to me. Tobias Gregson, an
Yeah, 'cause
inspector.
Musty's in too.
Tobias Gregson, an inspector at Scotland Yard. Until recently, he was suspended from duty, but it would appear he's back in action now. He's actually quite well known, appearing as he does in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. And for that reason, he can't say a word wrong to the story's author, Iris. But there are limits, surely. Or there should be.
Watch it, sunshine.
Sorry?
What gives, then? Don't tell me you're on this case.
Yes, I'm acting for the defense.
So we're here to investigate.
Dear me. That's the situation, is it?
Is it really that troubling? Just a measly fight,
Yeah.
Bob. Is that all you got?
You're a lawyer, ain't ya? You could stand to tie a bit more copper than your foot if this and that order.
What? Hey! That's my last bit of spending money, that is.
Can't have it, but I'll have to charge you for all the bother. 3 bob.
This is Gina Lestrade, a pickpocket or diver, born and bred in the East End of London. In the case that led to my own suspension 6 months ago, this is the young girl I was defending in court.
What's your problem, Otto? Diver? Pickpocket? What's his old name called? You want a bag of chips that I felt no, dear?
No, I could go for some fries, actually. Wait, how did she hear this internal monologue? This happens in Ace Attorney all the time. Every time the main character introduces a character, it's like humor for them. It's like, what are you talking about?
It's basically it's a fourth wall break.
Yes, it is. I thought you were proud to be a diver, Gina. You were just arguing with Inspector Gregson about it, weren't you? I assumed you'd been up to your usual tricks here at the showground.
That ain't no way to talk to a lady, Otto. Half a year's long time. People can't change. I'm an apprentice now, learning to be a Scotland Yard detective. So you'll have to call me what everyone else does. And it's Inspector Lestrade now.
Inspector? That badge is homemade, surely.
Inspector Gadget. This inspector part isn't entirely accurate. No one calls it that. For what it's worth, anyway, investigation's off the cards for all of us.
What's that supposed to mean?
Right, well, I'll be back up top. You hold the fort down here, alright?
That's
This raises a lot of questions. And it was 8 months ago now that I first encountered Gina in connection with a case I was working on. At the time, she was living in the East End with a group of other orphans. She helped all of them survive by pickpocketing, but then she got embroiled in a murder.
I had a lot of time to think with prison. I realized I couldn't go on like I was. The diving, weren't working on. Oh, I'm so pleased to hear it, Jenny. Well done.
So, you went from being a pickpocket to a detective?
You got it. Good, isn't it? Inspector Lestrade. Sounds like something out of a book.
Talk about a sea change.
And then there's Iris's old man to think about.
Iris's father, you mean?
Yeah. I promised her, didn't I? I said I'd get the police bosses around the world to pull off all the stops looking for them.
Just a small promise then. Nothing serious.
Oh, gee. It's so sweet. So anyway, that's how I ought to go out of test at Scotland Yard. And the trouble is, I don't read so well, do I?
Just a small problem. Nothing serious.
And that's where Harry approached Betsy and asked for help. On connection. So the inspector said he'd take full responsibility for Ginny and made her a sort of a protest.
That was very magnanimous of Inspector Gregson. And brave.
Well, you know, Hurley, he enjoys finding ways to make people do what he wants.
The great detective likes digging for dirt, in other words.
So, the long and the short of it is,
Right then, Inspector. Actually, there's still a big mystery surrounding Gina, isn't there?
what's doing what?
Well, 6 months ago, Gina was the defendant in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper. A trial in which she was found not guilty, and yet here she is still.
Come on! Yeah, ain't still on about that, are ya? The Legend of the Reaper.
If I didn't half worry, there probably wouldn't be a whole lot of you left.
It's like I told you before. The Reapers kinda like upstairs that you know I'm on on the inside, but
Nothing wrong might be stretching a point.
what about Mr. Natsume in Japan? He's perfectly.
Well, that's true. Perhaps the Reaper is more discerning than I thought.
Exactly. Sorry, worries. I'm totally fine. Cough. It was out of this world, it was. the brainy bloke pulled a bunch of levers on his machine and suddenly it started billowing smoke. It's just with cop. I ain't seen a better experimenter yet.
Sorry?
You mean you saw it, Ginny? With your own? Yeah. The boss is in charge and anti of keeping everything running smooth. I mean,
The boss being Inspector Gregson, I suppose. That's gonna take some getting used to.
so all I have to say is I'm on duty and I can do whatever I want. Get it? I was up in one of them flying balloons when it happened, watching it from above. Oh, you're so lucky, Ginny. Maybe I should join Scotland Yard too. Yeah, do it.
Oh God.
Just do it! Just do it!
You know, I could put the boss in his place, right? I have no trouble at all. Then it's simple. When do I start?
No, no, no. You can't join Scotland Yard, Iris.
Well, see. Anyway, what I don't understand is this. If the machine exploded spectacularly, how come Professor Buddybrain will be claiming that experiment was a success? Oh, right. Well, it was a success, in a way.
It was? How could it have been? Surely after the whole machine blew up, no one could call the experiment a success.
It's like I said, it did sort of work. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of smoke and that whooping big red bang. But where do you think they found the victim's body, eh? In the crystal tower over there.
What? In the tower?
You can see for yourself, can't you? Up there above the scaffold. Ah! Where are the glasses broken, you mean? Yeah, the cage was the victim. Got this stuff. Really did. You beamed through the air, whatever, and landed all the way over there. So you see, it did kind of work, didn't it?
What? I don't believe it.
I mean, I don't get the ins and outs of it, but anything's possible around with science. I'll tell you what, you can opt it. It's the plan of the experiment they drew up at the yard.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go on. I'll add the Bob off yeah before, so fair's fair.
Yes, I didn't actually give that to you, did I? Something Inspector Gregson said before seemed a little strange.
For what it's worth, anyways. Investigation is off the cards for all this.
God damn it!
Yeah, no feel Greg. See, said, no one's allowed to investigate that weird machine what blew up yesterday. But that's not fair. We're representing the defendants.
In that case,
In that
could you at least tell us what you've learned from your investigations?
Nah, you're not getting it. We ain't allowed to investigate neither.
Why?
What did the boss call them again? The forensic investigation team, I think. Anyway, apart from them, no one's allowed to lay a finger on the scene. That's funny, isn't it?
So even Scotland Yard's own detectives can't investigate. Yes, I've never heard something like that before.
But I was kinda disquiet, though. But the boss called me at it. Yeah, probably. I'm giving me an earful of bottles before from that here, didn't you?
Oh yes, it was a pay-per-view match.
It's not bleeding back.
I think you were giving him as much of an earful back as I remember it.
Yeah, well, sometimes I think it's all in them chips what makes them so stubborn. And I was ready to I was about ready to throw hands at the bastard. If there's something to him, although, go on, see if you can get through to him.
Well, let's go get some more fish and chips for him. He'll probably agree to that. He's up on the platform above us, is he? Where the machine that exploded is.
We can try, can't we, Rina? Great people listen to us.
Well, I got some extra fish and chips, so... Oh, wait, before we do that...
Look, there's just somebody's dropped up there behind the tree just here.
Dropped or hid? What is this? Some part of the machine that exploded?
Maybe. It could have fallen from above in the past, perhaps. What's going on here?
Oh, nothing. I think I'll hang on to this just in case. I'm just gonna put it in my giant inventory.
Oh, look what's this? A big piece of cloth.
It's not like any fabric I've ever seen before. It's very thick and stiff. It looks extremely durable. It's like a weighted blanket of some kind.
It's canvas, I think. With some sort of rubber backing. And the edges appear to be a bit hard as well.
Maybe that means it had something to do with the explosion.
Let's make a note of it while Ginny's mid-yawn. Huh.
Funny, I was just yawning right there, too.
I was like, well, we got it down. Perfect.
That's where the help ended up after the instant kinesis or whatever they call it, dead of course.
And yet they're calling the experiment a success?
What's the wooden scaffold there for? The coppers are last. Let's start up after the incident happened. To get the body down as celery.
Didn't you help to erect the scaffold then?
Nah, gonna out Stitch's mom, I think. Wandering around the exhibition and keeping a lookout for the fun stuff.
Hey, thank you, Dane Morgan 8, for following us.
Thank you.
That's my new boyfriend.
Nice. Mind Gregson doesn't hear you saying that, or he'll give you the boot. A boot to the head and one for Jenny in the wind. It's incredible, though, isn't it? I mean, could the victim really have bridged that gap by some sort of invisible kinesis? These stairs obviously lead to the stage above. We should go up there and investigate the exact spot where the experiment was being conducted. Holy shit.
I would like to see something like that in real life.
Oh god,
Yeah.
they gotta get something up there.
It also looks like a satellite dish.
So that's it, is it? The machine that blew up.
It must have been a significant explosion. And I've seen my fish.
You've seen things like this before, you mean?
Of course. Hell is always being experiments and ends with a bang. In fact, his own word, explosions are the very essence of chemistry.
That might explain the smell of burning that frequently comes wafting up the stairs.
One time, he made something that exploded with such force, it took the roof off the building. I wish you'd been there to see it, Bruno.
It's hard to get too excited about that, given that I now live in the roof.
Oh my god, her face.
Anyway, that's enough about that. It's time to investigate.
She had severe.
Oh, look, Inspector Gregson is over there. He seems to be deep in thought about something, whilst eyeing up the machine carefully.
Boy.
Really, he just looks confused to me.
It ripped itself apart magnificently, didn't it?
Magnificently and mercilessly.
So someone stands in the middle of the machine to be disassembled and then beamed through the air.
Yes. B. Not blasted. That's the point.
Yes, that part's crucial, really. Is something like that even possible, though, Iris?
Oh, you know. Just a child. What should I know?
A child when it suits you, you mean?
Oh.
Damn. Oh, I got stopped. I got interrupted. I was gonna say my line and then you just skipped.
No, that was actually like auto scroll.
Oh. Stop! Don't touch that!
Touch.
That would be instantaneous pieces the way you flew over just now, Greg. See?
Please, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you, but I can't let you touch anything here.
I'm sorry. You can have some of my latest special blend to make up for.
There you go. Good.
Glug, 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 glug.
This man loves the way Iris makes the tea.
Ah, wonderful. This stuff is really wonderful.
It's just like old times, this is.
Yup.
We're representing Professor Harebrain in court tomorrow, Inspector. So we should be allowed to examine the scene.
Ha! Listen here, Sunshine. Even if I'm allowed to touch anything up here.
It's coming in slow, man.
It's
Same.
blasted special deposition scientific equipment to blame. It's driving me potty.
Oh yes, that special deposition. The professor mentioned that too.
More red tape, all we need. I don't know what the government thinks it's playing at sometimes.
Well, that's just look, aren't we?
Eh?
Really, that's all right. Isn't this crazy?
Of course, your ladyship. Anything you say, your ladyship. Please don't get your dainty hands dirty, will you?
That's right. He wouldn't think of touching anything. Look at Luna.
She really knows how to get what she wants. Considering how badly damaged everything is, Professor Harebrain was lucky to escape unscathed, I'd say. We should have a good look around the machine while we can, I think.
Touch anything and I'll make sure I kill you before I get stalled up myself, you hear?
I won't touch a thing, I promise. So please, spare a thought for your digestion. Anyway, do you really think this machine could actually disassemble people like the professor claims?
He asked, looking totally ridiculous. Give it a rest, Sunshine. If we were allowed to examine this bleeding scrap metal, maybe we could answer that question. But we can't, can we?
Because of the annoying rules, you mean?
Exactly! That annoying, offensive, flaming rule!
Oh, look at the base of the machine there.
Oh, yep. There's a tool of some kind poking through the wire mesh.
It's a screwdriver, I think.
Oh, it's just a lovely one. The handle of it is to stick the capital letter A.
It is? Oh, yes, you're right.
What's the matter with you? Don't touch anything I said! Touch anything and I'll make sure I kill you before I get strung up myself, I said.
Yes, yes, I understand. Sorry. I only touched it a teeny weeny bit.
But crazy! I'm very curious about the screwdriver. Really, very, very curious.
Of course, your ladyship. You're so clever, your ladyship. Fancying a spot something like this. But I'm afraid I can't let you have it.
But Renal found it first.
I assure you, I am investigating it thoroughly.
And the spark sprung when he saluted.
He's gone off with it.
Sorry, Sunshine.
That was very...
We got screwed by a screwdriver.
Okay, I did not need that right now. I'm in a very bad mood. Expected Brexit is going to make a very clumsy and embarrassing mistake in next month's installment now.
Poor Gregsy. What a tool.
Screw you, Sunshine. I'll make sure I kick your ass.
Well, let's just talk to you after you just stole our screwdriver. Using high voltage electricity to somehow disassemble a man's body and then beam him across to the Crystal Tower. It's an extraordinary thing to attempt, especially in public.
True. It was the very most unusual for the experiment planned for the expedition in mind.
To be honest, I'm a bit surprised it was allowed. Carrying out something so dangerous with so many spectators present, I mean.
The government's doing everything it can to promote new science and technology at the moment. They're more worried about being ahead of the game than the odd spot of public safety infringements. If they can't be first to develop some new technology, it makes Britain more powerful in the future years, you see?
Yes, I suppose that's true in a way.
So the powers that are placing a heavy impetus on scientists' rights at the moment.
What sort of right?
They're making it so any theories the brains have remain their legal property as it were. Right through developing it into a practical idea and even going into production. Which is the infuriating reason us coppers aren't allowed to touch this crime scene. Because of the new high fluent special suspension for scientific equipment act forbids it. God, that's a mouthful.
I know, right?
Ah, I see now. You got a lot in your mouth with all those fish and chips in there.
The only people with permission to investigate here are some new development at the yard. Department at the yard. The forensic investigation team, it's called, and we have retaliated to keep it guarded.
The forensic investigation team.
Any old fool can see that this heap of scrap metal was sham to begin with. Just because it says scientific equipment on the paperwork, we can't do a flaming thing with it.
Oh, crazy. He's really kept up.
That's one way to say it. Remind me again, what's this new legal act that means we're not allowed to touch the scene here?
Are you having it with me, Sunshine? It's the Special Disposition of Scientific Equipment Act.
Yeah, I think Harley has mentioned that recently. With a real twinkle in his eyes, I remember.
I'm sure he did, your ladyship. I'm sure he did. Pass especially for the great exposition it was. All scientists have to do is present their ideas or inventions for some suits in the civil service.
Oh.
And if it gets rubber stamped, that's a guarantee of rights to maintain invention confidentiality.
What does that really mean?
Oh my god, doing it high pitch. Think about it. Think of all the world-changing new inventions on display every day at this exhibition. Although a half good of them are loads of cobblers, if you ask me, formerly by shammers like yourself.
Thanks for that.
Ah, I love how some of the inventions here are. It's all so fun.
It might be fun to you, but a member of the force has to be present at every single demonstration. Can you imagine it? Ain't science. What shall I say?
Jeez.
What should I say?
No, don't hang science, whatever you do.
I'm losing my accent over here.
I don't think so. That sounds like my dream job.
You'll think otherwise after spending a day guarding all these shammers' bogus contraptions.
But if they're all bogus, how can anyone hope to demonstrate them? There'd be no point.
Yeah? Well, there is a point, sadly.
Sorry?
Thanks to another of our government bright ideas, If any theory or invention is deemed to show potential, the government hands out a research grant.
The scientists get funding?
Exactly. And that's what they're all after. All these shammers coming from far and wide to clog up Hyde Park. And who has to keep them all safe, eh? Who has to smile politely and welcome them? Us coppers, too. So you can see why I say now, can't ya? Ain't scientists. Science. Hang it.
Ah, maybe I can see your point.
Apparently, Professor Harebrain lives and works in Germany now, conducting his research.
That's right. Came back to Britain especially for the grant exhibition, as I understand it. Probably one of the government's research grants.
Actually, we learned something else about the professor earlier today. About his time in further education, turns out he was at university with someone we both know, Lord Van Zeeks.
Eh? What was that? That's news to me. But if Van Zeeks mans the prosecution, then as the accused, the professor fate is
Sealed? Because the Reaper will get him one way or another.
blimey. That's beyond me. I don't know what goes on in the head of his. Talking of Van Zeeks, this morning's paper ran a story of him being attacked. Read that.
Oh geez, Elliot just basically destroyed Sylph's computer.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Well, not destroyed, but just turned off everything because of the power strip.
Ah,
Really, Elliot?
bad kitty.
Oh yeah, but Mr. Reaper is completely fine. Nothing to worry about.
Yes, that's right. Glad to hear it. Still, the Reaper, huh? How long has that business gonna keep up, I wonder?
I'm gonna be back.
The victim of this case, the investor, Mr. Asman. He was another of the Reaper's victims, or so I heard.
Lord Bort Van Zeeks is a top-class prosecutor. But even he can't always push the right verdict through. Sometimes justice can't win.
Yes, I've heard about jurors being bribed and evidence being falsified. And that's how the notion of the Reaper of the Bailey came about, isn't it?
Obviously, Scotland Yard suspects Van Zeeks initially. We all assumed he was taking matters in his own hands if he failed to seal the deal in court.
Although the man himself denies that charge.
Well, we've done a very thorough investigation, and the conclusion we reached is that Lord Van Zeeks is no way related to the deaths and of those people outside the courtroom. There's no question in my mind. I stake my reputation on it. I would.
But if that's true, then how do you explain it? All those defendants couldn't have just coincidentally died if nobody killed them.
I know that, but I can't explain it.
Sylph is saying, I got bad news. Him doing that forced Windows update. Shit.
It's a mystery, after all, isn't it? That's what the whole point of the Reaper.
Professor Hairbrain mentioned something else. He said that at university, Lord Van Zieks was a totally different person, easygoing and kind.
You what?
He said that it was after they both graduated that something happened to change the man. Do you have any idea what it was?
No clue.
Really?
Look, I got my hands full watching over this frustration crime scene. Why don't you go and make a nuisance of yourselves elsewhere?
Death stare. No, you're all good, Sylph.
Right, are you done here, Mr. Naruto?
Sorry?
Isn't it about time you were leaving? Or rather, is about time you were leaving. There's a lot here now. That's a lot are here now.
That all?
The forensic investigation team. They'll be giving me the heave-ho in a minute, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Gregsy.
Doing him twists my tongue so bad.
Thanks.
It's a tongue twister,
Here,
you
have
mean?
another cup of my...
Yeah!
Here, have another cup of my special blend to cheer you up.
Glug! 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 Glug!
That hits the spot. Yep, hits it every time.
Well, at least I've seen the scene with my own eyes. It looks like this is as far as we're gonna get with our investigations here, at least.
Nothing thinking. Harry might know something, mightn't he?
About what?
About Mr. Reaper.
Oh no.
About what happened to Lord Van Zieks, you mean? Because it sounds like something very significant occurred after he graduated from university. Something that completely changed his life. Maybe.
Became a vampire.
Exactly. Maybe, but I have no idea where to find Mr. Sholmes at the moment. He's in the middle of some big case, isn't he?
Yeah. This is what you need.
What's this? Some kind of entrance ticket? Madam to Spells. Is this supposed to mean something to me?
You don't know it. It's the most popular attraction in London at the moment. It's very close to Baker Street, actually. You can go now if you like.
No, we don't have time for visiting attractions today, Iris. We have a big trial tomorrow. Sylph saying, you see it all started with a strange stone mask he found on his congratulatory trip abroad.
But that's where Hurley is.
What? At this popular London attraction?
Yes.
How is it that you know where he is?
Hurley told me. He told me to keep it a secret from you, you know.
Madam to Spells? I don't see how it could be related to the case we're investigating here, but then... Stranger things have happened, and when they happen, Mr. Sholmes is usually at the heart of them. Well, we're gonna have to do that next time around, because we are reaching our 2-hour limit. Because if we go on any longer, everyone's gonna fall asleep, and for good reason, because this part is very long. But then again, cases 3 through 5 in most Ace Attorney games get that way. Alright, well, next time around, we're gonna go to a wax museum, where we're gonna find, yes, we're gonna find Herlock Sholmes, doing something at a wax museum, but, Yeah, that's and it's not Ripley's Believe It or Not. I'm just gonna be telling you that right now. It's not that great of a place. I went there. I mean, we have one in St. Augustine up in North Florida, and it sucked. I wouldn't go back there again. I think they're closed. I think they're closed now forever. Someone else have to look that
Sorry,
up.
cat.
All right. All right. So next week we'll do Wax Museum, and then we'll see what happens after that. So until next time, hope you all enjoy yourselves, and we'll catch you all next week. Be sure to eat plenty of that spaghetti, and I will. And Sylph, I am going to make sure that I not spoil what happens next, so that you don't, so that you know what happens. So anyway,
We need to find a voice acting role next week.
well, I mean, we're gonna meet Madame Tuspel, so that's gonna be something.
There you go, Sylph.
Oh yes, and I'm going to be activating the alternate costumes for when the trial starts. So
Oh, joy.
look out for the alternate costumes when you can. She's happy. They're happy. They're happy. All right, we'll catch you all next week. Bye, everyone.
Ciao.